Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my channel. I am Nicole Mary. If you're new here, thank you for joining us, and like, subscribe, comment, participate, whatever you feel comfortable doing, but thank you for watching. If you're returning, welcome back. So today's video, I will be doing this look here, inspired by a YouTuber. I've recently started watching loads of different YouTube videos over the lockdown period, and there's this one YouTuber who I came across, and her videos are so like unconventional. I was watching them, I was just like intrigued, and I couldn't stop watching. The YouTuber's name that this look is inspired by is Bailey Sirium, and she hosts a makeup Monday. No, let me see, get this correct. Murder, mystery and makeup every Monday. If you're into like true crime stories and like murder mysteries and stuff like that, I really do suggest checking her out. So without further ado, let's get into this video.
You are the only one, been searching far and wide, but there's something about you. You can get all my love, there's nobody else above. Hearts locked off, no one you can get through. You'll always be my baby boy.
Okay, so I'm going to be starting with my Fenty Beauty Mattifying Primer, and I'm just dotting that all around my face. There's not a right way to put this on, and there's not a right amount to use, but I would suggest using it sparingly so it will last you longer. The bottle is quite big, so it does last for a while. So this amount, how long have I had this? I think I've had it for a while. Moving on to my brows, and I'm just using a brow pencil in the shade brown that I bought from Primark for like £1.50. The quality is amazing. As you can see, I'm just filling in my brows. Over the quarantine period, they got so out of control, so I had to pluck with myself, and I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left! I've got nothing left! Now I'm just carving out my brows with the Conceal and Define Infinite by Makeup Revolution in the shade C12, and I was going to carve out my brows with the P. Louise base and then go on to conceal my lid. But because I'm so used to using the Conceal and Define, I just forgot. So then I go in and conceal the lid further with the P. Louise base in the shade number 3. And the only real difference that I find with the Conceal and Define and the P. Louise base when using it for an eyeshadow base is the P. Louise base just goes on, it applies a lot smoother than the Conceal and Define. They're both quite buttery, but this one, if you just look at it, the way that I pat it in, the more that I pat it in, the smoother it gets, and there's no creasing without having to set it. They both use the same kind of pigmentation, depending on what eyeshadow that you use. But so far, I have to say I'm loving the P. Louise base. And this is my first time using it. I've been using the Conceal and Define since it came out now, so how many years has it been out? Maybe a couple of years. To achieve this look, I used both the Sample Beauty Paradigm Shift palette and the James Charles Morphe palette, and I basically used every green in the palette and then a like shimmery white in the James Charles palette to do the sort of halo effect. The first colour that I used was from the James Charles palette. It was the first colour on the bottom left, the lightest green, and I just packed that onto the lid and then just buffed it out to diffuse it. Staying in the James Charles palette, I took the yellow and just patted it on top of the green, and then just started to blend it together. Next, I took the darkest green in the James Charles palette and this green right here in the Sample Beauty palette, and I just started to darken the inner corners and outer corners of my eyes. This is the final eye look for now. Let's move on to the rest of the face. Next, I take my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation in the shade 420 and I just dot that all around the face. Then I take a kabuki brush and I just make sure it's all blended in. Because I don't really like to have halo brows where the concealer just goes over your brow and just looks really bright and like a halo, I wait until this stage to then shape my brows with the foundation. Next, I take the same Conceal and Define concealer in C12 and just put that in all of my highlight areas. I'm not gonna lie, I went way overboard with this concealer, so I'm basically just blending for my life because it's upsetting me and my homegirls.
It's upsetting me and my homegirl because we feel like, well, damn, if you can't go to Better Noches, what the hell could you go?
Time to contour, and for that I'm using Makeup Revolution's Conceal and Define in the shade C16. And I'm just going to place that on my jawline, underneath my lip, my forehead, and my nose. And as you can see, I'm just blending again for my life. You don't want to see any harsh lines, so blend, blend, blend. For my nose, I use a smaller blending brush and that just makes it easier to get to that part of my face. To set my face, I'm using the legendary Laura Mercier translucent powder in the translucent shade. And yes, we melanated girls can use translucent powder and it won't have any different effect than if we used a banana powder or a deeper powder because it's translucent. Now I'm going to add some colour back into my face using the Collection's Bronze Glow Bronzing Powder. To snatch my face even further, I'm going in with the Makeup Revolution Strong Soul Powder in the deepest shade and I'm just putting that in all the places that I contoured. We want to look snatched, so I'm taking my Laura Mercier powder and I'm just going underneath my jawline where I contoured before and just cutting it. For my blush, I'm using a blush by MAC in the shade Raisin and I'm just going over my bronzer with that, making sure to blend it in. To complete the eye look and take it that step further, I'm doing underneath my eyeballs and I am just applying the same greens that I applied before and I will just diffuse that with the same yellow. Then I took the tiniest little eyeshadow brush and I just dipped it very lightly into a black in the Sample Beauty palette and just applied it to the eye. Using the Maybelline's mascara Great Lash in Blackest Black, I proceeded to apply that to my eyelashes on the top and bottom. When putting on your eyelashes, to make it a lot easier, you just want to make sure that they're measured out to the shape of your eye and cut them down where necessary and really put them on the corners and on the inner corners and push them up to make sure that they're secure. To set the look, I'm using Urban Decay's De-Slick Oil Control Setting Spray, and I'm just going to buff that in to blend everything together properly. For my highlighter, I'm using MAC's Global Glow, and I'm just applying that above my blush with a fluffy brush. Next, I'm going to apply it to my Cupid's bow, on my tip of my nose, on the bridge of my nose, and finally underneath my brow arch. For my lips, I'm going to be doing a nude lip, and I start by lining my lips with a pencil or liquid lipstick from Boohoo in the shade Mocha. Then I finish off the look with NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Cape Town. And now, usually I'd apply a lip gloss over this, but today I thought I'd go for a matte look. Then I decided to take the look one step further and make it my own by adding this shade in the James Charles palette to the inner corner of my eyes and to the center. And me being me, I just can't help but do a winged liner, so I'm using Kiko's Definition eyeliner in a black shade, and I'm just applying that to my eyes. I actually need help. I was going to try and do no eyeliner, but I'm an addict. What can I say? At this point, I was supposed to show you the final look, but my camera decided to cut out. So instead, here are some photos and videos that I did on Snapchat.
Cause she saw a young nigga pull up in the Rover.
You are the only one, the only one. Been searching far and wide, but there's something about you. You can get all my love, there's nobody else above. Hearts up tough, no one you can get through. You'll always be my